Welcome, my name is Martin, Mad Plantman, and this week's show will be all about plants that will get through the hot, dry weather that we've been experiencing in the UK. Yes, it's been unseasonably hot and dry this year, so we'll be looking at a few plants there. Granfer will be doing his little bit, and then we'll be doubling back again onto plants and what we can look at doing to help them survive through these quite dry, hot conditions. Anyway, without further ado, let's go to one of my favourites. It is right behind me, and it is the Rosemary. What an absolute belter of a plant. I really like these. They're just great. They're evergreen. They flower, the bees and all the pollinators love them. You can use them in cooking. What else is there? They're fairly straightforward to propagate. You just take off the heels of the plants and you can either grow them, pop them into sort of like seed snails or a pot or something like that. I know some people say that they can put them in water and they grow, but I've never been successful with that. So I'll leave with those people who've got experience in those matters. Smells beautiful. And what I didn't really appreciate about them until I went away to the Mediterranean this year is you can treat them pretty hard and make them into the most fantastic hedge. This plant behind you, standing at a couple of feet tall now, is growth from last autumn, I think it was, when I chopped it right back down. Yeah, what a brilliant hedge plant. They've got a number of varieties. They can be purple, pink, flowers, whites. Some of them are quite tall uprights. They'll grow to about a metre, metre and a half. Some of them will grow flat, the prostratus. So they are a pretty good plant to kick in to any border or any herb garden, certainly, that you want. I also dot mine around the garden because I got trouble with the deer, and the deer apparently don't like smelly plants. So there you go, smelly plant, let's put them away. But yeah, what a great plant it is. So the first one is the rosemary. The other one, which I'm really bad at doing, is the lavender. Now, I don't have any large lavender myself. I've just got little babbies that I get rid of and sell. But the lavenders, I'm treat them too well, to be perfectly honest. They just don't like being treated well. Put them in rubbishy, stony soil and they're all over it. They will grow big, they smell beautiful, they are fantastic. And I'm going to dedicate a bit of time next year because I've got a bit of rough old ground that I'm going to chuck a few in, and I think they will grow admirably in those sorts of locations. But yeah, the lavenders, they come in lots of different colors: purples, pinks, whites, blues, those sorts of bits and pieces. Beautiful smell on them. You can use them in potpourri as well, and you can pick some and they smell the kitchen out and stuff like that. And again, if we are to believe that deer are slightly repulsed by smelly plants, they are a good one for that as well. Then, of course, we've got plants like the Agapanthus and the Begonia. Now, I'll just wander over to the Begonia that I've got here. Now, this is the lovely Begonia. Now, I didn't really appreciate them for a plant that was great in dry, hot conditions. I always naturally thought they were going to be brilliant for the sort of like where they normally are, in the semi-shade. This one is in full sun behind me. It's actually a split from another larger plant. This one's gone pretty big, and this was about 4 plants planted about 2 years ago. So you can see they grow pretty well. They got nice flowers on them. There are a number of different colours, not overly amount of variety as far as the Begonia is concerned, with colours on the flowers, whites, pinks, that sort of thing, and a mix of them. But they are evergreen, so they're very good at suppressing weeds. They are quite exotic looking, really, as well. I do quite like them because they do form this lovely sort of matte, and they are great in the border. And as I said, pretty okay with the dry weather. That coupled with something like Agapanthus. Now, Agapanthus, they are fantastic plants to have in. The one thing with the Agapanthus is don't, again, treat them too well. They like fairly cramped conditions. They don't like to be in a big pot all by themselves. They like to be in smaller pots so they can really fill it out. And the same way, you'll find some people have them in borders And these borders will just be full of an agapanthus, because an agapanthus will just expand and grow into an area that it likes. But again, lovely flowers. Again, I always think they look quite exotic with the flowers. They've got the droopy heads at the end. But yeah, another one which is really good. And then we've got the euphorbia as well. Lots of different varieties of them. Some of them are like sort of like shrubs that can grow to a couple of feet tall. Some of them grow bigger than that, 4 or 5 foot, even in some circumstance. All of which, though they have the main common thread, they're pretty good in the dry, hot weather. Now, no plant is brilliant in dry, hot weather, because by the very nature of a plant and the way it feeds and looks after itself, apart from the few unusual species that are specific to certain regions that thrive in that, because they have to, majority of plants, certainly in the UK that we've got, don't like hot, dry weather. They will, in some respects, close down a little bit if it's too hot. And it's a case of just getting them through that period until wetter, milder times come about. But anyway, let's go on to a bit of Granfer, I think. Now then, me handsomes, Granfer here. Gardeners today, they turn on hose pipe. Victorian gardeners, they didn't have that sort of luxury. In many villages, water had to be carried up by hand from pumps, wells, rainwater barrels, or even from a stream or a small pond. Big country estates, they employed teams of gardeners who spent entire days carting water around in buckets. Mind ye, they mulched heavily with manure, straw, compost, because they knew every drop of that water they were slugging their guts out for mattered. They planted their plants deeply, they watered less often, but much more thoroughly, and selected plants that could survive the conditions they had. In some ways, they gardened smarter, because they simply had to. They had no choice. Right then, it's enough learning for one day. See you directly. Granfer out. Thank you very much there for Granfer's bit. Anyway, as you can see, some plants don't get overly well get on when it's dry like this. Now, as you can see, this is the rhododendron. We've got severe droopy leaves. But saying that, we can just take a few bits of action that will help this plant recover. Now, that one I haven't at the moment, but this one is suffering from exactly the same thing. Here, properly droopy leaves, and as you can see, after a good water, and when I mean a good water, I mean a thorough water to the base, right down at the roots, all came back, and I did that about 4 or 5 days ago. And as you can see, it's picked right up. So there's a lot to be said for giving it a good drink, proper drink. Then of course you've got things like magnolias as well. Now I've got a magnolia here, which is still okay, to be perfectly honest. There's a couple of slightly browny leaves on, oh there you go, here, leaf here, but nothing overly bad, so I'm not too worried about that one. Then of course there's other plants as well, which do struggle this time of, not necessarily this time of year, but when there is sunny, hot conditions, which are very dry. Primulas, what primulas do, they'll go quite brown, yellow in the leaf, die back. What they'll do is they'll be looking to conserve their root systems, which is the most important thing. Don't worry about them, just leave them be. In fact, there is an argument to suggest don't try to water them unless they are drying up completely, because you don't want to force more growth if it is a prolonged dry spell that is ultimately going to take resources out of the plant's roots to grow greeny leaves that are then going to go yellow and die again. So got to look after the primulas as well. But apart from that, yeah, you just got to look after and manage your plants as much as you can. when it's hot and dry, or in any particular weather condition. You've also got to look at plants that fit with whatever weather conditions you're experiencing and potentially going to experience, during the life cycle of that particular plant. Make sure it's planted right, make sure it's planted deep, make sure the roots go right down. Avoid moisture loss by mulching, and also in mulching around the base of any plant as well. Not only does that keep moisture in, but it also stops the sun rays penetrating the soil crust. In effect, you're adding an extra layer to it, so it's taking away that heat from the plant's roots, which is really, really important. Anyway, it's enough for today, I think. Stay weird, stay wild. Mad Plantman out.